Well, well, well. If you are a fan of Escape from Tarkov or a casual player, you more than likely have seen the internet and Twitter and every other social media platform blow up about the news today relating to Escape from Tarkov. I like to imagine it was a relatively cold morning a few weeks ago over in Russia in BSG headquarters, and everyone was partying and having a really dandy time getting a little drunk off vodka when this idea was hatched. I refuse to believe that anybody was sober when coming up with this idea. And here we are today. We are sitting at the results of this. BSG has released a new edition of Escape from Tarkov called the Unheard edition. And in this very quick video, I'm going to add my voice to the thousands of other protesters or content creators talking about this new and not even teased edition just dropped in front of us out of nowheres, just to get my feelings out there. I am never one to spread hate or aggravation. I am a fan of spreading information and giving my opinions on things, so I am going to try to stay as neutral as I possibly can and just give some information about what's going on. So buckle up, get some water, it's gonna be an interesting one. Let's start with the big mama in the room, the single player PvE co-op mode that doesn't reset with wipes. Basically single player Tarkov. Now, if you know the abbreviation, SPT, that is a unofficial mod for Tarkov that a lot of people were fleeing to because a lot of players in the Tarkov community don't want to interact with the PvP or want to take a break from the cheaters, because originally the idea of Escape from Tarkov was a realistic military survival extraction shooter, but that morphed into this competitive thing that we have today, and a lot of people just don't want to interact with that. So many fled to this third-party tool, or I should say this third-party mod, which Nikita despises and wants to sue and bans players actively for playing it if they stream it or otherwise talk about it. It was a great tool and is a great tool for learning how to play the game and seeing everything the game has to offer in a contained environment separate from the main game that you actually still need to buy a standard copy of the game for, so Nikita and BSG are actually still making money from it and just being able to get used to the game. Now, this single player mode that's in the official game is the official SPT killer. It is their response to that mod, or I should say their attempt at a response to that mod, and that's okay. That's all dandy, and it's fantastic that players will be able to have this avenue of learning the game in a contained environment and be able to keep their stuff and progress through everything the game has, because the normal offline co-op, or the normal offline mode I should say, practice mode, was always an excuse for offline and was a very lazy feature. It doesn't help you because you don't get to keep anything. You don't get to experience progression. You don't get to experience anything, really. It's just a map tool. Here is the wrench. That all sounds dandy, right? The problem is, you can't get access to it unless you have the Unheard edition. Again, maybe that might not sound like the biggest deal. Oh, it's just a special thing. But the other hitch here is the Unheard edition has free access to all subsequent DLC, in parentheses, Season Pass. The Edge of Darkness edition was the best edition that you could buy for the longest time. I don't remember its base price. It's been a few years since I bought it. But that edition, about a month and a half ago, was taken off the store, was made unavailable for purchase. And when it was on the store in its original listing, and for the longest time, that had free access to all subsequent DLCs. Literally the same line of text you get on the Unheard edition. Now, however, after removing EOD, they have moved that up to Unheard and basically took the largest dildo they could find and fucked half of the community over. Because most players have Edge of Darkness. Those are the returning players. Those are the content creators, the people who actively support the game and want it to do good. They, and I should say we, don't get access to the single player mode unless you either pay $250 or $100, or depending where you want to upgrade from. And that really ruffled a lot of feathers. Little intermission. This is a offline mode, right? That means there's no other real players playing in the raids that you're loading into. So please, for the love of all that is fucking holy, why do you load for average of 10 fucking minutes? Here, watch this shit. Watch. What am I supposed to do during this entire time? Edge myself to porn? I don't get it. I do not get it. I loaded for 15 minutes. Who am I matching against? Fucking BSG employees that act like PMCs because they rushed this fucking game mode? This feature, they say? It's crazy. It's crazy. A lot of people, myself included, call this a very scummy move. It's actually, it feels illegal, and I don't know enough about law to really say that it's definitely illegal, but it feels like false advertising and a rug pull. Everybody knew that the EOD edition was the one you get if you want all this cool new stuff that's going to come out once we get closer to 1.0. And access to a single player mode is very clearly a DLC. It is not a feature as the marketing and the team at BSG have been saying it is. It is clearly DLC. Everything else on this list you could argue is not DLC, and it is a feature. This is the only thing that I personally would say is a DLC. If this single player mode was not on this listing and the Edge of Darkness still had the season pass, I don't think we would really be talking about this right now. I think this would be seen as a mega bundle that you can buy if you really love the game and want to support it. But unfortunately that didn't happen, and BSG has been snowballing in bad decisions as of late, and we are seeing the consequences of those actions. And interestingly enough, instead of making a comment on the giant forest fire that they have started on their Twitter, they instead started bashing competition in the genre that is starting to gain momentum and threaten Escape from Tarkov's dominance, because Escape from Tarkov has been sitting on a high throne for the longest time. But Arena Breakout, the mobile Tarkov competitor, has been picking up steam, and they have recently decided to move to PC. And today, the same day that this edition was revealed, they dropped a trailer showing their PC gameplay. And like I said, instead of making a comment on the player sentiment in this forest fire, they instead bashed them. That did not help anything. Did not help anything. Furthermore, with all of that aside, you have a bigger stash, which is fine. You have the increased rep with Fence, which again, all of this other stuff you can argue is okay if they handled it a little bit better. One thing that is also being argued to calling this the pay-to-win edition is the fact that you have skills that start at level 3. A lot of them, like attention, hideout management, weapon maintenance, all that stuff, starts at level 3. And also, like I mentioned previously, you have the Mark of the Unheard. Now, let's talk about that a little bit more. Originally, I thought it was more broken than it actually is, but the Mark of the Unheard, this item is equipped in the special slot. The item gives a 50% discount when using cash services in raids, so when you go to use the car exit, it's going to cost less money. Insured equipment returns 30% faster, so the insurance not only comes back faster, but will stay in your messages longer. With 6+ fence reputation, scavs won't shoot first at rogues over 60 meters away. Why they said rogues and not PMCs, that's a little confusing. I guess technically in the lore we're rogues. But scavs, if you have 6+ fence reps, scavs will not shoot you if you're over 60 meters away. Originally, I thought it was any scavs won't shoot you no matter what you're doing, but this is a little bit more toned in. However, that is basically saying any sniper scav that exists can go fuck itself because they're not going to shoot you. This can feel very pay-to-winny, especially in combination with the weapon skills and the hideout stuff, and just some specific ones starting at level 3, because you're basically removing some threat and having scavs kind of work for you in a sense, because you can kind of play around with them a little bit more. But that it doesn't really feel that good. Also, the second item that you get, which isn't actually out yet, is the distress signal device. And what this does is when the item is activated, it produces a bright flash as well as a loud sound signal. And once activated, all players on your friends list will receive a notification that they can join your raid to help you. I have no idea how that's going to play out. So I can't really comment on too much. We can only do some speculation. So can you use that if you're in a fight and you need to fall back and you hide in a corner and use it? And can your friends join and spawn directly next to you and turn a 1v1 or a 1v2 situation, and particularly all of a sudden turn it into a 2v2? That feels a little fucking weird. I mean, of course, we have to see how bright the light is and how loud the sound is, and if it's actually admitted and people around the player who activates it can hear it, because if that's the case, it's a little bit better. Again, this is only accessible if you have this edition, so it makes it feel a little bit more pay to winny that you have an oh shit button if you pay $250 and you can call in your like mega chatted, kitted friend in to 1KO whoever is trying to kill you. Or if you find the boss and you want to call it. It's like, it's cool in theory, but the fact that it's locked behind this edition makes it feel really bad. That's pretty much everything. But what are my thoughts on all of this? Simply put, I feel like there's a lot of good things here, and it was executed poorly, and I feel like my trust has been smashed. I disagree with a lot of stuff that's going on here. I think BSG has made a lot of poor moves recently. The interview with Pesily was another great thing in theory, but some of the biggest player issues like cheating got hardly 2 minutes worth of talking, and Nikita essentially just said, dealing with cheaters is harder than you think, leave us alone. I personally think we're past the point of using statements like that when you're probably one of the most hacked games in existence. But overall, I feel like a lot of this stuff didn't really need to be in its own edition. And again, I feel like if the single player mode was not a part of this package, we wouldn't be talking about it. I would feel a lot better about it. Unfortunately, this is the path they took, and we're gonna see what happens. I feel like we might see a lawsuit. Personally, I feel like people probably had enough of the recent moves that the company did. We might, and it feels really illegal, and it feels like it's a really easy lawsuit to take up against, from saying that you have a season pass to saying now you don't. Just feels really scummy. So we'll see what the future holds in store for Escape from Tarkov. We have Gray Zone Warfare coming out, which is a really good looking game, which essentially is everything Tarkov is supposed to be, but currently isn't. That just got done with some closed alpha in preparation for its open alpha / beta for the public. We also now have, like I mentioned, Arena Breakout coming to PC, and a lot of other indie extraction shooters. I don't really know how many of these indie extraction shooters are going to compete with Escape from Tarkov, but I think Gray Zone and Arena Breakout are the two big boys that we should be watching out for. I feel like a lot, but just bear with me. BSG has felt the pressure, Nikita has felt the pressure. They needed to open up other ways to get revenue, and they started with the stash size upgrades and the clothing, and now they're seeing competitors start to gain support in Steam because people are really tired of what Escape from Tarkov has been doing, and this is their response. Definitely wasn't handled that poorly, whether you call it Escape from Tarkov the Unheard edition, Escape from Tarkov the Pay to Win edition, or Escape from Tarkov the Unheard Community edition. Whatever you consider it, whatever you call it, this definitely was not handled appropriately, and I kind of really hope Gray Zone Warfare comes in and takes the cake, because this one hurt. So we'll see what they do to repair the damaged sentiment, because right now that trailer is very, very much review bombed. Like, I'm gonna throw a number out there. Last time I checked, it was like 25k, 30k downvotes, only 5.2 upvotes. Only time will tell what happens. The ball's in BSG court. Maybe we have the single player mode go out of this edition and it's free for Edge of Darkness owners. Maybe they don't do anything. Maybe they just sit on their laurels. But I don't really think that's the right move to do. And if we're as close to the 1.0 release date as they say we are, it's going to be an interesting year for Escape from Tarkov. So, anyway, thank you for watching. I know hopefully that was coherent. I woke up this morning to this news and was pissed off all day about it. Just make decisions with your money. Make your opinions known through your money. If you disagree with it, don't buy it. If you agree with it, go ahead and buy it. Let's see what happens. Again, thank you everybody for watching. I have more videos in the works. I've just been very lazy and busy, so expect to see more from me soon. And feel free to check out my Twitch at twitch.tv/Emberloom, where we play a lot of Tarkov, a lot of other variety games, branching out into new things. And yeah, thanks again, and I will catch you in the next one.